Welcome to another CambrianSV Debate, and our subject today is venture capital. Is it going to be more or less important in the Bitcoin economy than it has been in other sectors, particularly the tech sector? I'm very pleased to welcome, to discuss that, Aaron Burns from Twetch and a real live venture capitalist, Jackson Lasky from Unbounded Capital. So would you please welcome them both? So let me ask you first, Aaron, how important do you think venture capital will be in the Bitcoin economy?
Very little importance.
Why?
I think that we're going to go back to the time of angel investors rather than venture capitalists, because I think that so many people have seen what venture capital has done to Silicon Valley, for instance, and other markets that it put a sour taste in their mouth. You know, you come in, you do all this hard work, you stay up all these long nights, and three fat cats come in with some smooth talk and get you to sign a contract, and you give away 35% of your company for peanuts, you know? And after a few years, you basically have to return all that money to them when your company fails. You got a business.
In the meantime, though, you've lived in nice offices and had all sorts of freebies and good lifestyle at a time when your company's not making any money.
Yeah, it sounds terrible. I mean, I don't like that. I don't like comfort. I don't like people being comfortable while they're working. I want people doing their job, getting the work done, and then being able to reap the rewards of all that hard work at the end. I don't want them siphoning off some of that happiness as they go along just for some fucking jelly beans in the commissary. You know, like, I don't need you to bring your dog to work. I want you to work, you know?
Jackson, what do you make of all this?
So let me first say that I think a lot of the people in this room have a lot of really strong critiques of the way venture capital has been done to this point in Silicon Valley. I agree with many of those, and I think the perniciousness of some of those behaviors is not just to the entrepreneur, but to the investor in those firms. Now, that all being said, I think that this is a terrible idea that's being put forth, that there is no role for venture capital in Bitcoin, and I think it should stop now. And I think that it is akin to the full node fallacy of everyone needs to run their own node, or the decentralized everything fallacy that has sort of destroyed Ethereum. And VC, you know, take out all of the shiny whistles and everything. It's essentially an industry that is formed around offering the service of de-risking very, very big risky bets. There's something called the Kelly criterion, and it's something that's used heavily in risk-based industries. And essentially, it's a guide on how big of bets to take depending on your edge and your bankroll. So imagine that I said, look, you can flip a coin right now, and you'll wager $1 million, and if you win, I'll give you $1 million, 50,000. Most people in this room can't take that bet by themselves. It's too big, it's too much risk. And so industries form to de-risk that bet. You can still get a huge edge because maybe you're the only person who can make that bet. Whereas, you know, if you're flipping quarters to win 2 quarters, you know, anyone can make that bet as many times as they want. They'll become a very rich person from doing that.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron, you're taking a very absolutist position here.
Yes.
If people want to work with Jackson and he's got a service to offer,
I mean, he's already betrayed his, you know, his whole proposition is defeated by him saying that angels are going to play a role. Because angels are just venture capitalists.
They aren't.
I disagree with that.
They 100% are not.
What's the difference?
You guys have created an industry, the VC industry. Even if you're different, you're a different kind of VC. Everybody's always a different kind of VC when you're taking the meeting. And then they become the same type of VC when the books aren't being paid and they're telling you guys sell all your fucking computers and get out of your office space and all that kind of stuff.
But
right?
Doesn't your argument apply to existing tech companies anyway? I mean, why?
It applies to existing tech companies.
Well,
Here's
so
the
why does the VC industry do so well then?
They do so well because they've been able to place bets on 1 million horses, right? And they've rigged the entire game in favor of themselves.
Okay, but what's this got to do with the Bitcoin economy?
It has to do with the Bitcoin economy because every single person in this room knows a millionaire. Every single one, right? You've all known guys, if you've been around this space for more than 3 years, you know somebody who has $1 million in their pocket right now and can give you $100,000 right now, right? You don't have to go to this guy to go get that same $120,000 for him and his friends to take 35% of your company. Somebody would be able to come in for 10%, 5%.
But we're just talking about numbers here.
No, we're not talking about numbers because the prices that they take are astronomical. They're insane. The time when I would take VC is when I can offer 1% of my company for $50 million.
You know, if you don't have negotiation skills, then maybe you shouldn't be in the business of starting ventures. But life is a negotiation. You know, there's no, it has to be this way, it has to be that way. You don't have to give up control of your company.
You don't have to sell your soul to the devil either.
I agree with that.
You don't have to suck the devil's dick. You don't have to do any of this stuff, right? There's plenty of negotiations. Crossing the street is a negotiation. Everything's a negotiation, I agree. Everything is an IQ test as well, right? And there's some people that are gonna fall for the trap. You know, this guy is gonna come in, hey man, how's it going? I really like your business, really think it's great, blah, 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 XYZ. And then next thing you know, you're wondering, how did I lose control of my company and why am I a slave for this person now?
But your argument, I think, rests on the idea that you can liberate yourself from the need for venture capital.
With Bitcoin, you can.
Because of Bitcoin. Well, what is it about Bitcoin that does that?
I'm making revenue from the first day.
You might be.
If you're not making revenue the first day, you don't have a business.
That's
you have
not
a
true.
project.
So this is another pernicious idea that you don't have a business unless you're making revenue from day one.
Yep.
What was day one of Twitch?
Day one of Twitch was revenue.
Maybe.
But not enough to pay people's wages.
The first Twitch, we made money.
Okay,
first
yes,
Twitch,
but that
like
wasn't. That was not the first day of Twitch. That's my whole point.
That was the first day of Twitch.
So you guys go
we
to
made Twitch in a weekend.
That's fine. Well, that's very impressive, and I agree. So this is a good sort of critique that has come, and it's something that I'm going to have to think about as a VC. If the development costs are lower, if your ability to get revenue is, you can get that revenue, you can be profitable much earlier, then yes, the role for like how many businesses are going to need $5-10 million in funding, it's probably fewer. There's probably less of a role for venture capital.
But making money on day one doesn't make you a profitable business. I mean, look at Uber, look at Amazon. They were probably making some money on day one, but they weren't making a profit.
Yeah, and if you
rig,
well, hold on. If you rig the system without considering opportunity cost, you know, like Twitch, we're making revenue on day one, but you're not profitable. And you have to consider it in terms of opportunity cost because you could all be making much more in terms of wages. And the fact that we have a lot of Bitcoin millionaires in the room means that people can take on different kinds of bets. Certainly, I'm not saying Twitch should go take VC. If you don't need the money, don't get it. But a lot of people in this room weren't around, you know, to buy, or they were around, but they, for whatever reason, they're not Bitcoin rich, and they might become Bitcoin rich, and maybe you're not going to be my, you know, people who I invest in because you don't need funding. And I wouldn't want to fund a business that didn't need funding. But if you come to this conversation saying that nobody needs funding, no one needs to de-risk their bets, oh, I mean, like, I guess if it's an individual who's not, well, here's another thing. Angels are great. If you can find angels who see the value in your business or you have a personal relationship with, that's great. But what is a VC supposed to do? A VC is supposed to go and identify situations that are less risky than the market perceives. That's the whole point. That's your whole business. And so I can give you a better price. I can give you money at more favorable rates than you can get elsewhere because my whole job is trying to project the future and show where opportunities that are perceived to be highly risky are much less risky. Look at this room. You guys are all building on BSV. Don't you think everyone in the world is going to say, that's crazy. That's incredibly risky. You're building on an industry that's not established. You're not building on the major chain. What are you doing? But I'm here. I know there's literally no risk I'm building on BSV. You're taking on huge risk in any other domain. And so I can give you guys money at a much more favorable rate than almost anyone else can. Now, if you don't need to come to me, but I'm here offering it.
You can't give it at a more favorable rate than anybody else here can.
Right,
anybody in this room is more willing to accept money from me or Jack, right? People who are actually building businesses and not just like snake oil sales of like what contacts I'll be able to provide you with and who I'll be able to get on the phone with, and I'll maybe be able to get you a 10% rate cut on AWS.
You see,
like,
but this is...
all of these kinds of things, like all of this stuff is basically, it's you're running I'm not going to call your industry a scam, dude. It's just, it is what it is, right? You take advantage of people that don't understand what it is because they've heard they need VC and they heard that it's a great opportunity to get VC.
Okay, we've got to stop there, but let me give a final, very brief word to Jackson. Sorry. Sure.
You have to think of these things separately. If I can, as a business person, offer you services and I ask for some sort of equity or advisory fee in return, that's one thing. But what we're really talking about is capital, okay? And there's a cost to capital. There's opportunity cost. And so VCs are looking for places to put capital. If it comes with a package deal typically, because the kind of person who's going to see the fact that your business is not risky is typically going to have something else that they can offer you. But that's irrelevant. If you said to me, look, I'll take your money, but this is the price, and I actually don't want you to have anything to do with my business at all, I might question your judgment, but I'm not going to rule you out because of it. That's fine. That's less work I have to do.
We will watch with interest to see the role of venture capital in the Bitcoin economy, but thank you very much, Aaron Burns and Jackson Lasky. And thank you very much for watching this CambrianSV Debate.